quick check-in. Been a while since I've done the day diary. Mainly really because I just haven't been feeling healthy. I've been feeling up to it really. Sort of just been fighting to get through the days. It doesn't feel like I'm fighting through the days, but I think by the end of it, when it sort of comes just to quickly check in or check out, I just don't feel up to it. But yesterday, and more importantly, probably the night before, just a few things happened that really, I found really upsetting, inspirational and upsetting at the same time, and I couldn't really work out why. And I spent basically most of yesterday worrying, fretting, thinking, and concerned about it basically. So I sort of from very early on yesterday, I woke up and I could tell there was something not right. So I just wrote about it as much as I could, and this is what I've written. 25th of March 2015, 6 AM. Today I woke up at 5 because my heart was beating fast and heavy, and I soon realised it was because an uncomfortable emotion had built up inside over the night. It is tied up in and fighting my core values and personal beliefs. I won't stop until I do something about it. I need to calmly express my contained rage and heartfelt sorrow at a missed chance. Last night, with a happy and positive attitude, I left that Action Chai just after 7 PM to go to the housewarming party of an ex-peer and friend, Claire Cullen. It was a short 5-minute walk over, and she greeted me and Luke with open arms and a smile. Happiness, positivity, confidence, and a future glowed crimson in her cheeks as she led me to the spread of snacks, soft drinks, candles, and an infectious atmosphere. With our arrival, we'd brought the number at the housewarming up to a total of 7, with more expected. I knew Claire to be calm in nature, but solidly sanguine in heart, which has a subtle and endearing way to make her inspirational. Certainly to me, and I know the same for others. She asked who else was coming from the main house. I wasn't sure, so listed some names I knew and some I didn't. I wasn't sure, so she listed some names I knew and some I didn't. Out of all the names I heard, I was most pleased to hear Jenny mentioned, as I've known her for a long time, and I know she's about to finish treatment, and I knew how much of a motivator this event would be for her to see before she heads back to Callington. Happy in the knowledge that good company and good conversation were inevitably coming my way, in the next few hours I grabbed a wobbly plastic cocktail glass, added ice, poured in some juice, and then tried to dodge the tacky umbrella with my nose while not spilling my drink. The liquid glided down my throat while I soaked up the developing atmosphere. I chatted to peers past and present. I talked about times past and present, but also, and importantly, about the future and how bright it looks. After a while, Claire received a text from a peer in treatment and living in the main house at Action Chai, saying that they'd all been advised not to go. I was shocked. A simple event like this is unknowingly showcasing the hard work of so many at Action, peers, ex-peers and staff alike, and people in treatment were being denied the choice to come. My jaw dropped, and my happy feelings turned sour with the taste of dislike at a place I value and love. At the time of writing, I don't know exactly what I said at Chai. At the time of writing, I don't know exactly what was said at Chai to put people off coming, but I do know they were strongly put off. This is wrong. This event should be supported, encouraged, and actively promoted by Chai as a positive example of what can be done in and after rehab. I personally felt insulted and felt that Action Chai was accusing me of going out and putting myself in a dangerous situation that might involve drinking or drugs. I also felt extremely sorry for people that I knew residing in Action Chai that would have directly benefited from seeing an ex-peer successfully stand on her own 2 feet, alone, by herself, and with a bright future. It felt bad and wrong, and it's still fucking with my core values now as I type this at 6:55 a.m. 9 a.m. Now, having spoken to Joe and others in the main house, how do I feel and see the situation? Confused, conflicted about things that are said to have been said, and what is claimed that was actually said. I'll let time pass and let things settle. 4:30 p.m. I've been to the day programme all day and got on with my life. My gut is now telling me the obvious. Whenever people and therefore emotions are involved in anything, me included, then nothing is black and white. That's not changing the emotions I feel I was made to feel because of how I felt that Adakshan Chai reportedly dealt with the situation. Let me explain how I see it now. At 8:30 a.m. I went straight to Joe when he seemed free to ask his opinion on what had happened and what action was taken. I wanted to talk to him first because he was working last night, not living in the rehab. So he had a job to do, and in my opinion he was very good at it. I got straight to the point and asked, what's the position of the house, brackets meaning Adakshan Chai, on people going to Claire's housewarming party? Joe answered, nobody was told not to go, as far as the house last night. It was down to the individual's choice. There were several people that were invited to go to Claire's, and they all declined. That was Timmy, Paul, Alan, Charlotte, I'm presuming. She said, I'm not going. Why would I want to go to a party? But nobody was told not to go, not one at all. Okay, that's good, I said. I actually made the on-call about people going to Claire's home, and Ross said he didn't have a problem with it. Anybody going, said Joe. No, good, I smiled. I'm just disappointed because nobody went. Andy went over. He got a lift with Richard, Joe continued. Right, I said. I just wanted to be sure that nobody was told not to go, because that was sitting weirdly with me this morning. Somebody was told... So nobody was told not to go, I repeated. No, it was down to the individual choice. There were a few people going to Claire's party, but there was nothing handed over to me. So I made the on-call. I need to make the on-call to see if it was okay, and Ross said, yeah, Claire is sober and doing well. It's fine and would be good for some people. That's what I thought, I said, but I thought I would have seen Jenny there. Ah, she went to acupuncture. Actually, I was surprised that no one went, as it would leave me with an empty house and an easy night. Joe joked with a cheeky, sarcastic smile, and then went on. Gary and I went round and said, are you going to Claire's? And all that I asked said, no. No, they don't feel comfortable going. We needed to cover ourselves and know where people are going, because if something happens and someone from outside tries to contact that person and we'd say, well, we don't know where they are, then it looks bad as people under our care while they're here and we are responsible for them. They'd say, oh, what do you mean? What are you running here? So that's an example there. So I need to ring Ross to okay it. And he didn't know anything about it. But he said, that's fine, as long as they're back by 10 p.m. As long as I'm covered, then it's okay. As nothing was handed over to me about it. But certainly nobody was asked not to go or stopped to go to Claire's party. No one at all. And it did surprise me that only one person went. Yeah, and it surprised me as well, I said earnestly. Just tell her and make it clear to her, so she doesn't feel hard done by. said Joe. I will do, thanks. Then I got up and left, feeling a little bit more confused and dumbfounded by everything. Afterwards, I wanted to talk to the people he'd mentioned, Timmy, Paul, Alan and Charlotte. I was surprised that Jenny's name wasn't mentioned, but I knew she wanted to go, so I wanted to talk to her about it as well. I found Andy in the large TV room at 8:45 a.m. and he said that he was advised against going because it wasn't safe. He also mentioned that a lot of people had been asked to be friends with Ad Action Chai on Facebook late last night and seemed to think that was somehow related to it. I attended the main house morning meeting at 9:10, as Luke had asked me to join him the previous day. Claire's housewarming party was brought up in that, so I clearly wasn't pissed off for no reason, as others were clearly annoyed as well. I thought about adding to the debate, but although I wanted to, I felt it would only be for selfish reasons and not for the benefit of most peers in the house. So I decided to talk to an Ad Action Chai worker later that day, a one-to-one. After the meeting, I managed to chat to Jenny about it, and she said that she asked about it last night at about 6:30 to 7 p.m, and the reply from Joe was, I wouldn't advise it. So she didn't go, and went to acupuncture instead. After that, she reported that Gary said she could go, and Joe had cleared it by then with Ross. It's from that comment that the events became clear to me. Claire's party seemed to be common knowledge, and some people rightly wanted to go. Joe didn't know about it and wanted to be sure people could go before he let them, and that it would be safe to go under the duty of care that Ad Action Chai rightly runs by. Some people, between dinner and acupuncture, were talking and thinking of going to a party that Joe did not know about, or have the all clear that would enable him to let people go. Not having a definitive official answer, he erred on the side of caution and advised against it until he had time to make an on-call to Ross, who then cleared it and gave it the okay. After acupuncture finished, the call had been made and the word was out that you could go, but by then there's only an hour and a half or so before curfew at 10 p.m, so most people didn't bother going, except for Andy, who made it because Rich gave him a lift in his car. What I see from these events is a real missed chance for Ad Action Chai to display, encourage and congratulate peers past and present for doing well in their recovery. To see Claire set up by herself was a real personal inspiration for me, and could have given others in early recovery, I know the last month and maybe the last month of treatment in the main house, hope and reassurance that the future is not all doom and gloom. I feel disappointed and let down by Ad Action Chai, and I'm left wondering if I will be the next ex-peer to feel tarnished and viewed in a negative light. However, all told through today, I sadly feel that ultimately the party was never going to be given the chance it so clearly should have been, due to Claire. She did not clear it officially and get the approval it rightly deserved that would enable it to be a positive display that it would have been to some peers at the end of treatment. She's been busy moving, and is well down the treatment line, and I'm sure clearing a party at her own house to enable a few people to come was the last thing on her mind. Having spent most of the day with this banging around in my head, I feel finally that, however things played out, it just simply seems like a real missed chance. A shame for Claire, as I respect and admire her, and it would have been great for all involved to show and encourage her success. And it's left a negative taste in my respect and understanding for a place I love, cherish and care a great deal about, Ad Action Chai. I basically feel a sense of sadness and loss at this missed chance. 5:15 p.m. As I promised to myself, I had a private check-in with Martin Frankish, basically detailing everything above. 11:30 p.m. I reread and corrected what was written above. Time to sleep now. So that was my day yesterday, and sort of what was rattling in my head. And yeah, it just shows a bit of time is useful in any situation. Rash thinking doesn't help. Being a bit calm. It's just time, really. Time and listening to people's different views and trying to take your emotions out of it, which when you're in it is hard. I felt very good. One thing I didn't write at the end of that, I just want to pat myself on the back, because I went in that morning when I went to talk to Joe, and I was inside, I was fuming, But I knew he was the right person to go and talk to because he was working, which means he had a professional duty of care. And I know from experience, from working in schools, that you do see things a bit differently than in the heat of the moment and with emotions and knowing everybody and all the little intertwined relationships and all the stuff, and that's just. So I knew he was the first person to go and see, but I wasn't. First thing in the morning, I was not happy what he said because it didn't tick the box that I went in with. But I like waking up today, Thursday, the following day after that. I like it as an exercise. I feel like I've grown, and I'm going to take something from it. So for me personally, yesterday was hugely beneficial.